Hey guys, it's been a while since I've made a video like this where it's just me talking or, you know, really just um, trying to make an informational video. But recently, ever since I started doing like more specific work on Delta, I've been getting a lot of questions like, how do you make those FLAs? How are you doing that? How are you able to do it? Because I just use JPEGs. Isn't it better at blah blah blah? Because I don't know how to make the FLAs. But today, I intend to kill that meme. So what I'm gonna do is explain exactly how I make my FLAs for beta and 9B from beginning to end in not too much detail because there's not a lot of detail. So let's just say you're starting with uh, a build of the game. Like I'm just gonna use vanilla beta. I'm gonna use the one from the GitHub repository that I made. So this is going to be the independent development kit, and then in here you have the build data. This just organizes the DATs so that it's easier to find the files that you want. So for this, it is just character, and let's just say I want to make, I don't know, like what, Donkey Kong. I want to turn this Donkey Kong into an FLA. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy it, paste it out here. I'm going to then change it to an SWF. So now that it's like that, if you have JPEGs installed, you can just double click it and it's going to open in JPEGs. In the meantime, you can open SoThink, SWF decompiler, to get that up and running. Down here I have two programs. One is AS3 Sorcerer and the other one is FLV converter. I'm going to open both of those because we're going to need that. And finally, for my last program, it's something called Advanced Renamer. By the way, all the programs here are free, so you can download them. Download them and do this yourself. So now that we have all of this like this, the first thing that I would like to do is create the folder in which we're going to work from for this FLA. So you open up AS3 Sorcerer and you take your SWF and you just drag it in there, and you see all the scripts here. So what you're going to want to do is just go to AS3 scripts and drag it out, and suddenly you have a folder with all the scripts here. But you'll notice that there's no FLA, right? And we're going to fix that in just a second. Now, if you're not able to do this, it's because you need a registered copy. Thankfully, I have a registered copy of this program. If you want me to give you my activation code, I will. You just need to contact me directly because I'm not going to put that out publicly, obviously. Anyway, moving on from this program, we actually don't need it anymore. We're going to go to SoThink, and no, this is not SoThink, I'm sorry. This is SoThink. Since this is an SWF, it's picked up right here, and so then we go over to export FLA/flex. You want to remove this little tilde because it's going to become annoying later on, and you hit OK. You just wait for it to do that. It'll take a second, but it should be okay. Okay, so it's finished. See, the reason why we need an external program is simply because SoThink, when it makes its FLAs, it's not the best at exporting the scripts. So we're not going to use any of these. We're going to use the ones from AS3 Sorcerer. But anyway, you would open the folder that it creates, wherever you put it. You take the FLA, you hit Control X to cut it, and then you open the other one here from AS3 Sorcerer and just paste it. Then you can close out of this folder, and you can delete the one like that. And then once that's done, you can actually rename this to Donkey Kong so that it just remains consistent with the naming scheme that you might have going on. Or you can name it like dat, whatever, doesn't really matter. So now we have the Donkey Kong file. Let me just close all that. And what I'm going to do is just really click SSF2, IDK, I'm just going to put this in the source folder because why not? More people have access to this. So right after this video goes up, you'll be able to see that this is actually available there. So I'm just going to put it there. Anyway, once you're here, you can double click the FLA and it will open in whatever version of Animate you have. Personally, I have Adobe Animate CC 2019. Anything from 2015 should be okay, though just to remain consistent, I would highly recommend that you get at least 2017. 2018 is okay. 19 personally is my favorite just because of the darker theme and it has more compatibility with the newer Air versions. That's my personal reasoning. So now we have this here. Let's look at what's in the sounds folder. Oh, there's only one sound. So this happens when you create an FLA with SoThink. So what you can do is just delete that. But now you don't have any sounds, correct? We're going to fix that. So what you're going to want to do is now open up the folder, or open up the file in JPEG, go to Sounds, highlight it, export as FLV, not MP3, nothing else. FLV, and if you're exporting to your desktop, it's just going to make a folder called Sounds, and it appeared right here. And now you can close JPEGs. Next, what we're going to do is, well, let me remove that just so that it's more clear what you need to do. So you go to the sounds folder that you just made, and you're going to see that inside all of these files have little numbers and underscores before them. We don't want this because this is going to get in the way later. So what we're going to do, first we're going to highlight 1 through 9 and drag them in here. In Advanced Renamer, you can add renaming methods. So we can add a method and go to remove. For this one, we're just going to remove 2 so that the files will then look like this once they're done. You can hit start batch, start, OK, and then you will see that they seem gone, but they're actually just down here because they don't have the asterisk, or not the asterisk, the numbers anymore. So now you can highlight everything from 10 to down wherever it goes and drag the rest in there. Change 2 to 3 because this is to account for double-digit numbers, which is why we didn't do them all in one batch. Start batch, start, OK, and hit close. So now you don't need that program. We're down to 2 programs open. So now we're in FLV Converter. This time you can highlight all of everything in the sounds folder. Go here, just drag them in. You just go straight to MP3 and just hit OK. You're going to see them all appear in the list here. Now, for most people, it's not going to go in your documents. It's going to go into your main hard drive and under video output. It's going to create that folder. But me, I have it set to my documents, so it's going to create it there. So I just need to make sure that that folder is clear before I make something, which it wasn't. So I do not want to get confused. That's the last thing I need. Anyway, you can hit convert, and it's going to create all those files just like that. You are done, and you can actually delete the original sounds folder because that one you just needed it to create the MP3s. So now that we have the sound sources, what we can do is highlight them all and take them and drag them into the sound folder. Will take a second, but once it's done, you won't be stuck here. It'll depend on how many sound files. Like for example, maybe Goku will have more sounds than DK because of his several forms. Anyway, you will click on the first sound, go all the way down, hold shift, click the last one, right click, properties. Now this is important. Under compression, you just click on MP3. Use imported MP3 quality. And down here where it says export in frame 1, just change it to yes. It's going to say that it's going to give you a small warning, and you just hit OK. And this will restore all of the linkages to the sounds, so they're set up the way they need to be. And it also fixes the quality because otherwise they're going to sound really bad. So then you're going to want to click on the stage. Just hit period on your keyboard. And now we can zoom in here. We do have an FLA. We always did. Personally, I like to... Oh, it's already like that. Okay. So here you'll see your frames. They look a bit blurry, and they will look like this in game. You don't want that. Easy way to fix it. Go to the first image here. I don't know why it's Ichigo. Go to the last image, which actually is DK. Shift clicking. Properties. You're going to go to allow smoothing, check it, make sure it says no, compression, lossless PNG, and just hit OK. It's going to take a second to load all those changes because you're changing so many things at once. But once you do, the image quality should improve. Actually, it will improve just because that's how it works. So now that all of that is set up, what you'll want to do next is click on File and go to ActionScript Settings. Make sure that you do not have strict mode on and you do not have on automatically declare stage instances because that will cause some problems. Anyway, these 4 things here, classes, blah, 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 all of these you can remove. Leave this one here. That's just to prevent random warnings that don't really mean anything. And in this one, you can delete everything except for the libs. That is completely fine, and it'll do that. And you should be good to go, though do not forget to save. I use Control S to save. And now to test your export, you'll just go to Control Enter, and it'll go to the compiler errors. Actually, it won't go to compiler errors if there's no warnings or errors. It'll just sit on the timeline. If you have a blank export like this, then that means that you've done it correctly. So now, when you go to the folder, you'll see that you have an SWF here. To test this in game, you'll just go to SSF, or change it to SSF, and you can copy it. And I'm going to back out here, go to this build, data, character, change this to Donkey Kong original, and paste the Donkey Kong I just made. This is just a test to make sure that it works. And I guess I'll turn on the sounds. I actually have my sounds off just because reasons, helps me focus, but yeah, there it is. It's gonna be loud for me though.
Training mode.
Here is DK.
Donkey Kong. Go.
And as you can see, he works just fine. Test the specials. All the effects are there. Nothing really went wrong during the exporting process. It's all good. And I guess I'll test something complex such as his cargo. All that seems to be fine. Now next we'll just go over small edits. Hey, how would I make changes? It's not like JPEGs where everything is there. Well, that's only half true. So I'm going to go back to the folder where this character is. As you can see, all the scripts that you would want to change are right here. Now, you have 2 options. You can just double click it. Let's see, I'm going to go to one that's like actually relevant, like main. And it'll just show up and animate like this. Now, the cool thing about your source being set up like this is that it doesn't have to be open and animate, because for some people this is like an intensive program to always open up when you want to change one thing. So you could just open it in like a basic text editor. As you can see, I had other stuff here, but yeah, so you could actually just edit it here. You don't have to worry about this. This doesn't really change anything. Down here you have all the stuff. You can change it just the same way you would in JPEGs. Just remember to save the file, and once you want to test your changes, you just export it and then move the file. And that's pretty much it. That is how you would make an FLA and how you would edit the scripts. one thing I guess I should do while I'm here is show how the hitboxes work, because hitboxes are, they're an actual thing here, which is pretty cool. So the way that I like to look for the hitboxes is by first figuring out which layer is DK. Is this DK? Yes. And I did that by clicking on this little colored box down here. So now that I know that this is DK, I'm just going to name it DK. Lock the layer and leave it alone. This next one, I'm going to go to the frame down here where there's actually something, see what it's about. See, now I'm going to assume that this is an attack box, but I can't be completely sure, so I'm just going to click on the outline, and yes it is. So, attack box. And then what I can do is I'll double click on this, I'll lock it, view the layer as an outline, and yeah. So now, oh wait, what I like to do is make sure that it's completely red, just so that it's consistent. View the layer as an outline. What just happened? Come on. There we go. Right, so now when you see, you can see the hitbox as it comes in and then goes away. And then up here you would have, more than likely, well, other than the item box, which is obvious because that one's like visible, but now we get into hurt boxes. So for that, you just click on it. It's hitbox, so hitbox. For this, I would personally, I like changing them to pink. I don't know why really, but I just like pink hurt boxes. But the way that they're actually like they look when you do them with default SSF2 debug features, there's something like that. That's how the hitboxes normally look, I think. And you would just go through and like do that for all of his hurt boxes. This one up here you don't need to worry about. This is just the frame labels. So you would really leave them alone unless you're actually editing them. But now that we have all this, we can see the hitboxes for the whole move. So that's how you would do hitboxes. Oh, and if you want to move it, that's actually kind of funny how easy it is. You ready? There. You want to change it? Change the size? I got you. Watch. You just click on this, start scrolling up or down, click out, and oh, look, it's wider. You want to make it taller? You click on this, scroll up. Oh, look, it's taller. And that's pretty much how that works. I was originally going to do one for 9B as well, but the process is basically the same. There's like not really any difference between the two. There's actually just no difference. Now, occasionally your exports will be a little faulty. Even when you go through all of this, like everything in the game will work correctly. However, you'll have small problems like, let's see. You'll have small problems that arise by simply just exporting it, and some of the effects will be broken, which is somewhat of a problem, but it's nothing that can't be fixed. It just means that some of the effects that were, like the effect properties that were originally there aren't there anymore. Like, let me just quickly explain what I mean. So for example, this normally looks like this anyway, but let's just say that it normally has like a glow and then like a drop shadow, and that just is like missing, and that messes up the way it looks. So you can just add it back like I just did. And yeah, and I'm just gonna not save that. But that's pretty much the gist of how you would make an FLA. That's how I do mine. I could make a separate video on how to edit them in detail, but this is the basic stuff. Oh, and one of my favorite things to do, let me see, is that you can just take a text box and just put